Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the OT Radio Show where real talk meets sports. Our guest is a respectable leader, coach, historian, advocate, and pioneer for over 40 years in the golf industry. He has worked with major names like Titleist and FootJoy, served as associate producer for one of the best documentaries out here, groundbreaking, Uneven Fairways, contribute to preserving African American golf history as it spent years in creating opportunity for minority students, HBCU golf program. He has coached at in-state university, the Hornets. Beyond coaching, he had helped establish and grow the Black College Golfing Association. And hey, why not have him here on the OT show? So, further ado, the legend, the myth, as we say, the myth, the legend is here, Mr. Craig Bowen. How are you feeling today, man?
Man, I'm doing better now. How you doing, OT?
Oh, man, listen, man, I'm doing better than yesterday. You hear me? I'm doing better than yesterday. Man, so, well, first, thank you. It's definitely an honor to have you sitting here with me. I appreciate everything that you have been doing and the things that you are continuing on doing here. So, where should I start at, man? Because, you know, at the meeting you live, see, a lot of people don't know, at the meeting you live, it was like, yo, I got to get you on, you know, especially you took this golf thing to a whole nother level for me, you know, especially with your documentary, but we're going to talk about that, you know, a little bit later on the show. But beyond the people that don't know you,
how did we get here? Let's start there.
How did we get here? You talk about it. Talk about it.
From the bottom, now we're here, right? So I grew up in a little town just south of Chicago, Homewood, Illinois, Homewood, Flossmoor area. And within a 10-mile radius of my house in Homewood, there were 6 country clubs. Olympia Fields Country Club, Ravenslow Country Club. I worked at a public course called Glen Woody, started there when I was 12. Olympia Fields, Idlewild, Ravenslow, Flossmoor. And the irony of all that is all those courses in my backyard, I could only play Glen Woody and Cherry Hills, okay?
Wow.
And so my father, being a man of a whole lot of candor and dirt, certainly ahead of his time, him and his buddies formed a golf group called First Flighters. And it was all African-American professional men, basketball coaches, pharmacists, PhD principals. They had a turf grass guy, the Rabbit. He took care of all the grass at the stadiums. And all these guys went to college together at Tennessee State. So as part of the Great Migration, they all showed up in Chicago right around 58 or 1959. And, you know, a lot of them were former athletes. But I don't know how they got the bug to learn how to play golf. But they all started playing golf at the same time. And there was about 21 of them. And all these guys were self-taught. They weren't going to get golf lessons and paying the pro, you know, $50 an hour. They taught themselves how to play basically on hitting golf balls into a field. And so, you know, my dad would jokingly say, well, Craig, we're going to the church of the first tee. And that's where we spent mainly our Saturdays and Sundays until I was old enough. I started playing. I started going to the golf course with my dad when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. You know, he made his own clubs. And the thing that's interesting about the entire group of First Flighters is that all of the kids, at least I'm going to say 60% of the kids that started with the First Flighters as children, they've all worked in the golf industry as a result of that early exposure to golf.
Wow.
And so the lineage of the First Flighters is just, it's unbelievable, man. It's just, and, you know, of course, I had 21 uncles that I had to answer to. Especially when things didn't go right. You know, they talk about you get that butt whooping going down the block. Well, man, if something happened that wasn't right, they'd be at your house.
Right.
You know? And so I was very lucky to have that caliber of Black men to guide me through. And even to this day, you know, there's only 1 or 2 of them that are left, but I'm still, you know, I still utilize that resource to make me a better grown up, a better father, and a better coach as well. So that's where it started. I think I was the first or second African-American to play on the Homewood Flossmoor golf team. You know, a team was full of all country clubbers. All these cats were all from the country club. And so me being a public golfer, they kind of, I was the only one that looked like us. But, I could play the game too. And so I let my golf play earn the respect of the other guys that I was on the team with. And so, I was a pretty decent basketball player. And, my dad, in his infinite wisdom, he went to the head pro at the golf course. This is when I was 11 or 12 years old, Ron Skubish. And my dad said to Ron, he said, listen, man, I want you to hire my son. And if he doesn't do it the right way the second time, then just call me up and we're gonna show him the right way how to do it. Okay. And Ron, he's been my mentor and my second dad. I love that man to death. And he didn't have to do what he did for me. Okay. It was an all pretty much white, all Italians, a lot of bigots out there. And Ron defended me through thick and thin, no matter, even if I was wrong, Ron still defended me, And so, Ron at the time was only 21 years old. So he was young and cutting his teeth, you know what I'm saying? But he always treated me fairly. He gave me the work ethic that I needed. And I'm going to tell a quick story. Ron and my dad, right, I had just started driving the car. And I decided I was going to go hang out a little bit. And, in high school, you might like to have a little drink or something. Yeah. And I got rip-roaring drunk. And Ron and my dad collaborated to make me have the longest day of my life. And I was supposed to work from like 6 to 2. My dad called Ron and said, listen, we're going to have him work from 6 to 6. No break. First jobs at the golf course. Man, I'm running around sweating, getting sick. But that just let me know that, you can't do that and be responsible and respectable. So that was one of those life lessons that I'll never forget. And that carried me on, through my adulthood. I'm not saying I've been perfect, but I had an early understanding of what was right and what was wrong and how to conduct myself. So working at the golf course and being the only kid of color, there was a couple groups there that were guys of color that played there. But I learned to deal with the chief police played golf there. The drug dealers played golf there. And it was a sordid cast of characters. And so I just learned to assimilate with all the different types of folks. There was folks that were gamblers. We had a hitman. It was a lesson in life. And I started working there when I was 12. I picked up golf balls for free golf. And some of my longtime relationships, Marty Sheen, who's played the Pro Tour, and he was a retired coach at DePaul, has been one of my go-to guys that I looked up to as a child. But also Marty and I are very, very close. He just retired from DePaul. And Marty has been a guiding light in my life for decades. And so, those relationships that you keep and that you gather at the golf course, oftentimes are lifelong relationships. And so, man, I had the best upbringing in terms of being in golf. I played junior tournaments, played college golf at Southern University in Baton Rouge. Me being my high school was in my graduating class, 725 kids. There was maybe 24 kids of color in our graduating class. So it was all white high school at the time. Now it's all black. But I went to an HBCU simply because I needed to see the other side of life, And my parents taught me how to speak proper English. And both my parents are educators. My father was a school superintendent. And my mother was a high school guidance counselor for over 30 years. So education wasn't a choice. Right. And so I went to college and I went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, sight unseen. Right now I'm a suburban kid, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we were rich or anything, but we had air. Yeah. Man, I got out the car, started taking stuff upstairs. And I told my dad, Baton Rouge, Louisiana in the summertime, it's 9,000 degrees. And the school is down the street from the Exxon factory, so it smelled like gas, Doritos, whatever it was. It smelled bad. That's what it smelled like. I looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, hey man, I said, turn on the damn air, man. And he looked at me and he kind of chuckled. He said, Craig, I don't think there's any air, man. I looked at him, gave him the stink eye. I said, I'm going back home. Shoot, I ain't going here. Right. And he's like, you going back home, huh? He's like, all right, go put your stuff in the car. And he's like, but before we get your stuff in the car, he said, I need you to figure out something. He said, when you get back to Chicago, let me know where you're going to live so I can drop your stuff off, because you're not living with me. True story. And he said, you're going to turn down some free college because there's no air conditioning. And I was like, well, shit, you know? Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he said, I'll be back in a half hour. He came back and he bought me 2 big old box fans. And man, it was just blowing hot air. But I learned so much. And Southern University was the best education in life that I could have gotten. You know, you learn how to survive, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't move at your pace. You know, that Baton Rouge pace is a whole different ball game than Chicago pace. You know, you got to go see Miss Jenkins to get that thing right, you know, and they just go round and round and they don't care. So we learned how to assimilate. And once I finished at Southern University, I had two SWAC championships, conference championships. I was inducted into the Southern University Hall of Fame in 2017 or 18, I think, I forget. And then I came back home and I went to work for Ron Skubish, the guy I told you about earlier.
Yeah. And
he had graduated to being the general manager of St. Andrews Golf Club. Well, there's a group, the Jemsick family, that own 4 or 5 courses in the Chicagoland area. And St. Andrews is one of the most prestigious public courses, along with Cog Hill, home of the Western Open, within the Jemsick family, within their golf, conglomerate. And so, man, I became a teaching pro at St. Andrews, 21, fresh out of college, driving a long way because I couldn't afford much else, so I had to drive every day. But in 1991, I'd been out of school maybe 3 years. Hal Thompson was a bigoted owner of Shoal Creek Golf Club in Birmingham, Alabama. He made a comment that said, I don't care how long it is, we're never going to have any black members here at Shoal Creek.
Wow.
Kiss my ass. We're not going to do it. Okay? And that was the shot around the world that at the time, it was like George Floyd, but it was just in the golf environment. You know what I'm saying? So then all these golf courses, then the PGA Tour took a stand and they said that we are not going to host a championship or a tournament at a course that doesn't have diverse members and or women. And so then the golf manufacturers started scrambling around to try to find some folks to go to work. And I was sitting in the pro shop at St. Andrews, and Dan Grice, our Titleist rep, he came in, he says, Craig, would you be interested in being a sales rep for Titleist? I was like, you what? Sales rep for Titleist? Oh, but shit, you know, yeah, where do I go? So I took the job at Titleist. I went up for the interview, and I honestly think I was probably the first person of color to ever step foot in that building. I could be wrong, but that's what it felt like.
Okay.
New Bedford, Massachusetts, you know, Mattapoisett, Marion, the upper crust, staunch Republican grounds, and here I am. And so I moved to New Bedford, Massachusetts, home of Moby Dick. And you talk about a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And looky here. So I went, and the thing that was really interesting is that a lot of the guys, I was in a sales training program, and a lot of the guys are still really good friends of mine, but none of them had actually ever worked in a golf shop. Okay. And so they would send us through these sales training seminars and this, that, and the other. And I'd always be the guy in the back raising hand. I said, well, in my experience and doing what we're doing in these sales presentations, the pro really doesn't want to hear about all that. He wants to know how much, how soon, and what colors I can get in.
Yeah.
And so all this training that we're doing, I said, it's going to be scaled back. And they looked at me like, well, what is this? How does he know?
Right.
And, my first boss at Titleist told me, I compared my HR scenario to someone else's that I was cool with. And I got the same marks as he did, but he got 6% and I got 3%. And dude told me, he said, man, I said something about it. He's like, man, you should be glad what we give you. You should be glad to be here and take what we give you.
Wow.
And I was like, all right. So I tell you what, I was making good money teaching golf. And I took a huge pay. I said, shit, I quit. I'm going home. And Wally Uline, who was the president and CEO of Titleist, saw my value. But he was like a fortune teller. Okay. He knew who was coming down the pipeline about 3 years later. Okay. And so we created programs to help all of the black golf professionals that were in the PGA that were trying to play. And I created a network of support and support products for all the HBCU colleges. I saw what they were giving schools like University of Florida and Arizona. And I said, well, shoot, we got HBCU colleges that, you know, they play the same amount of golf that they play. I said, but we got to play DTs, the hard cover balls, because we can't afford all that. And you're giving these schools 120, 140 dozen balls a year. I said, we need to have a minority support program.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, Craig, whatever you need to do, go ahead and do it. And so I had the opportunity. I was the give it away guy for the colleges. Man, I had the actors, the athletes, Michael Jordan and Penny Hardaway and Rod Harper. You know, I had a pretty good network with LT, Lawrence Taylor. I had a pretty good network of guys that I was taking care of. And now, you know, it's kind of like the mafia. I did all this for these folks way back when, and now I'm collecting my just due. Say, hey, fellas, I got this golf program. Can you guys come and help me now? And so, but when Tiger turned pro in 96, I think it was, Tiger's original lawyer, who was my guy, John Merchant. John Merchant was the first African-American to graduate from the University of Virginia Law School, 1952. Okay? John Merchant was a badass. Okay?
Yeah.
Yep. John Merchant, like his Bombay Sapphire martinis, he tended to get a little he tended to talk a little too much. But John had the formula that was going to keep Tiger safe, keep him from being overexposed. And John told too much of the business and ended up getting fired. So long story short, you know, we developed the framework for the Tiger Woods Foundation. And it was interesting being in all those early meetings when this whole freight train was just leaving the depot, you know?
Yeah.
And so that turned into, I took the sales rep job in Detroit, Michigan. And I had probably about 160 accounts, but I was on the road with Tiger 35, 38 weeks out of the year. And, you know, Wally told me, he's like, Craig, listen, I want you to take a 2-year sabbatical and I want you to go do research. And the only missing book in golf's library is the African-American story.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 years, Library of Congress, going to, you know, this was before Google, right?
Yeah.
And so, man, I spent time at the Pittsburgh Courier, Chicago Defender, the Michigan Chronicle, the New Amsterdam News. I went to all these black newspapers, and I was on that microfilm and microfiche machine looking for stories that pertain to what was called the Chitlin Circuit back then, okay?
Okay.
My saving grace in all of that was a woman. Her name was Mrs. Dr. Sinnett. And her husband, Dr. Calvin Sinnett, he wrote the first book on black golf history. It's called Forbidden Fairways. And I'll never forget, I called the Sinnett household and I said, hey, can I speak with Dr. Sinnett, please? And she was like, well, which one? You want the male or the female? And I'm sorry. And so, man, I talked to Dr. Sinnett. I said, listen, I'm going to come to DC and I'm going to spend some time with you. And as soon as I stepped in the house, his wife was the librarian at the Library of Congress.
Wow.
He was in charge of something. And man, every time I'd come to DC, I would have a pile of items and articles and everything, pictures that I wouldn't even know where to start. Okay. And so there was a lot of really good people that helped in this project. Peggy White, Ted Rhodes' daughter. Man, she had this box that had mold on it down in the basement. But if you look at the cover of Uneven Lies, that cover was in her basement.
Wow.
It's Ted Rhodes' daughter and her daughter, Tiffany White. They've been so supportive, but they understand what keeping the memory and the legacy alive of our guys that didn't have a fair shot. Okay?
Right.
And Ted Rhodes, in a lot of people's minds, was the inventor of the modern day golf swing. He was so good, man. I never had a chance to meet him, but I saw his swing, and my man would change clothes after 9 holes.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And so there was just a group of players that were so good, that were ahead of their time. Bill Spiller, he is an iconic picture of him sitting holding his golf bag, and he's sitting there looking with that look on his face because he had qualified for the San Diego Open, and they told him he couldn't play. We was changing it to an invitational. So Bill Spiller was kind of the Malcolm X of black golf, And Pete McDaniel, we wrote about all of the black legends. Pete McDaniel is one of my big brothers. I love Pete dearly. But we traveled the world together, literally, putting together the research and the verbiage for the book. And what we did, Uneven Fairways, came about because we used the beginning of Uneven Lies and the second half of Forbidden Fairways. So we just combined the two to create the film Uneven Fairways.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Doing your researching, right, of the golf, did it change your perspective about how you look at golf during that time?
It was bigger than my perspective on golf. If you're going through these old newspapers, man, you're reading about lynchings and all kinds of bad things that were done to black people because, those newspapers reported it was unfiltered, Yeah,
yes, it was.
And so it created a different sense of reality for my charmed life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no problems.
Right.
Compared to what the folks before me went through. And so it created just a different level of respect. And the guys that played golf, man, that was their passion. And so if I can say the biggest thing that I learned about that is understanding the love for the game, okay? And so as I talk and deal with these kids of this era right now, man, they got no idea about loving the game and being students of the game. You got to do more than just take a golf lesson and come out and swing it. You got to watch it on Sunday. You got to live it. And so after hearing some of those stories about how the game treated folks wrong, but also how much they got out of the game was so little,
Right.
And so man, it was heavy.
Yeah.
It was heavy, You learned about your people, your ancestors and people. I through my research, I learned that my great-great-grandfather on my father's side used to teach freed slaves how to read at the first YMCA in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And I opened up and I'm like, damn, this guy looks kind of like my dad a little bit, And so what I discovered is that me personally, my family, we've been pioneers from the very beginning. And so, man, I just embraced it, and I kind of got out of the game for a little while. I was pretty outspoken about a golf tournament that just occurred. It's now the PGA Works. And before it was the National Minority College Golf Scholarship Fund National Championship, and it was for black kids. And it was all black kids. And this tournament's now on television with the PGA of America. And, we probably have about 30% African-American black participation. And, I'm just not a fan, to be honest with you.
Right.
And so I went for the first time this year, and I had the feeling like, man, you are completely obsolete in this ecosystem now. But, the element of it being fashionable to support black kids and black people in golf, it's on the downward turn. 4 or 5 years ago, it was a hot topic, man. There was money flying everywhere, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And, like the course that we were at Cobb's Creek, man, I worked on a project for 3 years. We wanted to do that in Chicago.
Wow.
Couldn't get the people that were pulling the things, man. We had money, we had the whole 9 yards, but the mayor just had no idea what it was going to take to get through this. And, man, we were trying to save the Park District,
Right.
So that's why the Cobb's Creek thing was really, it was kind of emotional for me, to be honest with you. Because
Talk about it.
Man, seeing all those beautiful people and the children and, beautiful people out there trying to learn how to play. Man, I was so busy teaching that day. You saw what I was going through.
Yeah, I already see what you was doing.
Yeah. And so, but that facility itself, that will rival any public-private golf course in the world. Right?
That's true. That's true.
PM, and man, it was heartfelt. Especially they had the pictures on the wall of Bill Spiller and Charlie Sippert, and paying homage to those guys we wrote about and that we interviewed for the book and the film. And so for me, that was like, man, you contributed to the understanding and the awareness of what Black golf meant to a lot of people before.
Yes.
Yes. So that day was beautiful. I had my little player from Africa. She was showing off.
Listen, because we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that because I got to ask this question. Doing your research, right? Why is it so important for us today to actually learn about our ancestors that was playing in golf? Because I'm going to tell you something, right? Because me watching it made me fall in love with the game even more, right? Now, for me, I'm taking it more serious than anything because after watching your documentary, it brought a big perspective into my life. Like, hey, man, we've been doing this for a while, because the 2000s, it was the Tiger Woods thing, right? And that's when everybody jumped on that bandwagon. But if you would have knew about the history of it and all the people that came before him, I think it would have been a little bit more different. Yeah.
Whole different ballgame. And that's why we did the book and the film, because it was the only missing subject matter in the history of the game.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting. You look at tennis now and the amount of diversity that tennis has.
Yeah.
And shoot, black girls are running it, winning everything. One in number, whatever it is, And so golf still is golf. Okay. Golf is still golf.
Yeah.
And we're the window's only going to be open for so long. Okay. Everybody asks the question, how come we don't have more Black PGA Tour pros? Why aren't there more LPGA pros and that kind of thing? And I'm probably going to get boos and hisses for saying this, but a lot of our players have become complacent playing these small minor league tours that afford them to make a living and earn a living, but they're not playing against the best competition. In the words of Andy Walker, there's game and there's big show game. Okay?
Yeah.
Big show game is not something that we got a lot of Instagram pros and pros that, do all the stuff, when they hit a golf ball. But I always ask these guys a question. I said, man, what'd you shoot today? What kind of scores did you shoot up? I know so many guys that you can watch them on the driving range, like, man, this guy should be on tour. But it's a different mentality that, our kids are missing. I hate to say that and sound like that. One of the things at my school is that, it'd be very easy for me to go out and recruit girls from Thailand and Mexico and everywhere else. But man, I've got enough Black girls around the country, and I've got a great network of people due to my past life. That name my team's gonna be Brown Town, because we all gonna be brown. Honestly, I'm not a racist, but I see these schools with HBCUs that have all white and Hispanic, more Hispanic and kids from everywhere else, Russia, and I'm not in this to help them girls, because them girls are already they need to go somewhere else. I hate to sound like that,
right?
But I'm going to find the best Black girls that I can find. Now, we may not finish first every week, but all my girls, man, I had 4 girls on the president's list, straight A's. In order to play with me, you got to have 3.4 or better. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even have to ask questions about study hall or, hey, did you guys get your homework done? I don't even have to ask questions about that. I'll ask a question maybe once or 2 times a quarter. Hey, everybody all right in school? Everybody good? Yeah, coach, we good. We're going to handle this. I had 2 girls that are pre-law, straight A's, man. I had 1 girl that struggled, but they were all either on the dean's list or on the president's list except 1 girl. So That's, to me, that's worth its weight in gold.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We may not have been the best team on the planet, but this is my third year at the school, and I will have my team coming up this fall.
Okay.
And so I'm going to be competitive, and we've got a couple donors who are going to put some money into the program.
Okay.
I'm not going to have that Sam Perry or Howard University money, but
but you're going to have some money,
right? But we're going to have some money, and so we're going, we're going to look good. We're going to be sharp, and we're going to carry ourselves like we know what we're doing. So
that's right.
Man.
So,
go ahead.
So what makes coaching at HBCU unique for you?
Doing more with less.
Yeah.
Doing more with less. Because everybody around you doesn't see the value in what we do and how we do it. Okay. I give my kids jobs, man. They're not going to be professional golfers, but I'm going to get some kids some jobs at the golf courses, at the LPGA, internships with the USGA, internships with the First Tee. I got a great Rolodex to get these girls placed in something that they may have passion for. And that's the difference, And a lot of people don't understand that, but I do a Craig talk, right? I talk about drunk uncle and mean auntie. And why are they drunk and why are they mean? It's because they hate what they do for work. And so I make it a joke, but I said, you guys are over the age, and I do this when I talk to high school kids. Like, look, you have a chance to create interest in something that you love to do, whether it's music, the arts. And there's no such thing as stupid or whatever these kids, whatever they call it, them fancy words they use.
Yeah.
About you doing something that you're passionate about. Because if you're passionate about it, you're going to be better at it.
Yes, you are.
You are. And so that's kind of my mantra that I live by, And so just creating, because, man, those cats, they used to make fun of me. Oh, you working at the golf course, picking up golf balls for them white folks. But those are the same folks that are paying me $75 for the hour for me to teach them how to play. Same people. So it goes all full circle, And so golf is afforded, man. I played golf with 2 U.S. presidents. I've been to every Super Bowl and NBA finals and been there, done all that, And so, man, I'm just looking to ride off into the sunset. I'm 60 now. I want to work another 10 years if health allowing me to, But they asked me, Coach, when are you going to retire? I'm like, well, I teach golf and play golf and coach golf. I said, I live retired.
Yeah.
I'm not wealthy financially, but, man, it's about having peace of mind and doing what you love to do.
Now, how important is mentorship in your coaching philosophy?
Mentorship provides perspective. Okay. Some kids are easier to reach than others, And so what I do, man, is I've got a team of golf pros, friends, anywhere that we go, and my girls will tell you this, we have met more people traveling with Craig, golf pros here. I took my girls to Chicago. I had 5 of my buddy golf pros out there. We worked from sun up to sundown. All I had to do was sit back and watch, And along with that comes accountability with somebody other than me, because they get sick of hearing me talk.
Right.
And so if I can get it from 2 or 3 different sources to say the same thing and help these young ladies understand that we don't know everything, I'm still learning too. I got a lot to learn at age 60, But one thing I do know, I raised a world-class track athlete. My daughter was U.S. number 2 for high school girls coming out of high school for the 100-meter hurdles. I know about training that killer instinct and that mentality. And can't nobody take that away from me because I'm competitive. I was competitive.
Right.
And so, we were traveling one day and the girls didn't play that well. And, we were traveling around and I'm hearing them back there laughing and having a good time. And I blew a gasket. You know, you all act like we just won the national championship.
Right.
We finished almost dead freaking last.
Mm-hmm.
Quiet down with that, because that's not accountability.
No, it's not.
So this new generation, man, is a whole nother set of conditions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The socialization is different. These kids that are coming through, a lot of these kids now are COVID high school kids.
Yeah.
So the communication aspect of it is different. The what am I looking for? It's kind of like they're ingratiated. Is that a word? But it's kind of like coddled or
Cuddle.
you know, self-absorbed,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I just listened to some of the conversation, and I'm just like, man, you're really not that good. Mm-hmm. So if we spend more time talking about how great we are, and let's try to learn about being a student of the game and being humble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're so used to doing this with the instant gratification. And that, to me, has been the downfall of Black kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a talk, all this right here, all this, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, well, nobody gives a shit about that. That's worthwhile and meaningful, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just, as I go through, you know, I've got a 30-year-old son, and my daughter's 25.
Mm-hmm.
I really try to protect them from falling into that,
mm-hmm.
you know. And both my kids, they work hard, man, and my kids are happy. And I'm not saying I was a perfect dad, but they got the good qualities of understanding and accountability, you know, and they're both happy. So to me, that's all that matters.
So let's talk about the Black College Golf Association, right? And you didn't turn that into a 501c right now, right? And it's big. What was your inspiration behind your mission?
Okay. So 1988, I played as a player. Between 84 and 88, I played as a player in the HBCU golf circuit. Okay. 1991, I worked for Titleist. So now I've got insight on how to help these schools and helping them. And there was always a BCGCA, a Black College Golf Coaches Association. But basically all the coaches did was get together and bitch and complain about what they didn't have and what they weren't doing. Okay. And so I was very fortunate. I was working on a project that paid me pretty good, but I really didn't have to report in every day. And so I became president of the Black Coaches Association. I raised some money. Farmers Insurance was our sponsor. And this was on the cusp of George Floyd. And man, we raised some money. And I created golf tournaments that were affordable for the schools. We had some kids that, you know, we helped move along. We gave some money to the programs. And, you know, for me, $2,000 to go play in a golf tournament, heck, my budget might have only been $8,000.
Right.
If I can put together 3 or 4 tournaments that are no entry fee and all you got to do is get there and we pay for the meals, then I'm doubling these colleges' budgets. Yeah. Okay. And so that was the basis of why and how the BCGCA was created. Okay. And again, you know, when we gave the tournament away to the PGA, the national championship, the HBCU golf scene took a kick in the gut because now we no longer own the narrative. And, you know, you give the narrative to somebody else and they stamp their name on it and say, oh, we've been doing this from day one. Well, you know what? You weren't doing it from day one because you didn't give a shit from day one. Right. And so it was my job to protect the legacy of HBCU colleges. And again, man, I went on HBO Real Sports and I talked about the Black colleges having all white golfers and why that's a bad thing for the reasoning why HBCU colleges were created. Whew, man, I couldn't work in golf. Right. I could not get a job in golf after I did that. I had to sit out. Man, I opened up some rib and chicken restaurants, man, coming home smelling like pigs.
Wow.
You know? But I sat in the penalty box, and then I came back, and I was fortunate enough to get a chance to go down and become a teacher down in Florida at the PGA Tour Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of the family, Charlie Johnson, came to me. He was chairman at Benedict College down in Columbia. He's like, Craig, you know what? He's like, you need to become a golf coach. And he didn't ask. It wasn't, hey, Craig, would you like to be a golf coach? He's like, hey, I'm signing you up. Move your shit to Columbia, South Carolina, because you're going to be the golf coach.
Wow.
And, you know, it's kind of funny because my season of change in my life is always in September and October.
Mm-hmm.
I had a spiritual awakening on 10/10/2010. And literally 360 days later, I got the job at Benedict College. That's when I started. And so part of finding your way is really listening to the message that you're getting that we always don't listen to, and to understand how to react and how to move through that, you know? And so I owe so much to Charlie Johnson, because he embraced me and he gave me a shot when nobody else would. So here I am, you know?
So let's talk about that a little bit, because you went to, you coached at Benedict College, you coached at Elizabeth City State, you coached at Chicago State, and now Dell State, right?
Yep.
How has coaching evolved for you?
Well, Dell State has been probably the place that understands the significance of golf. Mm-hmm. They support what I do. The other schools could care less. You know, I mean, I've had some bad athletic directors, you know, but we've got a solid group here at Delaware State, you know, and, obviously football and basketball is always the breadwinner, you know, but secondary sports here, we've actually got a chance. We got a great volleyball team. Heck, we got an equestrian team, athlon team. And so all these other schools that I've been at, man, they were barely struggling to have track and field and some of the basic sports that, that really thrive here at Delaware State, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, it's a good place.
Okay. So talking about that a little bit, so let's talk about, Uneven Fairways. And when people start watching it, what do you want people to take from that documentary when they watch it?
Oh, that's a great question. Passion. You can see the commitment and the hurt and the kind of the moxie that these men had, and women. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How to endure, how to make do, how to not worry about what folks are giving you and take what you want and do it respectfully, obviously. But, no wasn't an answer for them folks. The PGA of America had a Caucasian-only clause until 1961. And we got guys who were winning golf tournaments back in the late 40s, early 50s. But they didn't have a chance to hone their craft and play at the highest level. Okay? And so being resilient, I think resilience is probably the most appropriate word that we can give to that. You know what I'm saying? Resilience, man.
Yeah, because so let's talk about that event that we was both, present. Man, listen, just seeing everybody there, and you had not only the elders, you had the mid-generation, you had the young generation, you had the baby generations, as I call them, all out there playing golf. And you said earlier during the interview that it was like breathtaking for you. It was emotional for you.
It was.
And meeting you personally was an experience of its own, right? Because you started mentoring people out there. Hey, you check out this swing. That swing ain't that good, right? And doing that shows to me that the love that you have, plus knowing the history of it, it brings joy to me, man. And,
oh man, thank you.
and
I'm humbled, man, because to me that's my greatest gift to give to these young people. Man, there was a little boy there, and man, he was striping it. He had a couple little things wrong with his swing. He's a sophomore in high school, and man, I sat with that kid for almost an hour. And the mother kept looking at me, smiling. I said, listen, I said, my job in this whole big scheme of things is to give parents a raise and some free college. Okay? And honestly, if I had, I'm not saying I'm all that. I'm not saying that. But if I had 20% of what I do with these kids, if I had that, my life would probably be a lot different because the opportunities, I didn't have anybody fighting for me other than the folks that were in my immediate circle. But to have a complete stranger walk up to these kids on the tee box and me just say, hey man, let me show you the right way to do this.
Right.
At that facility,
Yeah.
And man, it was breathtaking.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And, just being in that environment made me want, man, I'm going to come out here and be a part of this. Because that's going to shape lives. And that Tiger Woods TGR room in there that we didn't really go in there.
Yeah, we didn't.
State of the art, man. That's as good as it gets. And so the chance to involve myself in that, man, that's worth its weight in gold to me.
So let me ask you this. When your career is all said and done, what legacy do you hope people to remember?
I was a good human being. Not perfect, but certainly my heart and the lives that I've touched, I would like to think that there's some folks that are grateful that I helped them along. Man, I got a long list of people that I've helped along the way, And I don't do that to be acknowledged or get an ooh-wee badge or, ooh, look what he did. I just do it because it's the right thing to do because I know the legacy that I come behind, man, it was deep and strong and bright. If I could be half of what the guys that trained me in the game, if I could be half as good as they were, then I think I've done God's work.
So what would you say right now to a young person who's feeling like overlooked playing golf? What would you tell them right now?
The numbers don't lie. Okay? We have a lot of these folks, and the parents think that little JoJo is a good little player, but JoJo's shooting 87. And the only way little JoJo is going to become a 75 shooter is it can't be a part-time commitment. You got to get out there and sweat. It's going to be hot. You're going to get rained on. You're going to have blisters. And, you think these guys on TV, they talk about hitting 100,000 balls before you can even talk about becoming a golf professional.
Yeah.
And I got to see some of my players, man, they go hit a large bucket and they think they're doing something. I hit a large bucket just to warm up. Lord, I'm tired. Come on now.
Yeah.
And so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's about, you're talking about being a student of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And, just like the NBA, they live and die by the three now. They don't play defense. And these guys, it's pure talent.
Yeah.
Are they students of the game? They rely on physical ability. Golf is not the game. Golf is so much mental. It's 80% mental and 20% physical.
Yes, it is.
We were at a tournament, the Folds of Honor. We played the top maybe 10 out of 20 schools in the country were there. And if I were to put a blind up where you couldn't see who was hitting the shots, our golf balls were flying just the same as the kids from Georgia Tech and Baylor and Arizona and Texas. right?
Mm-hmm.
But the mental approach that when they hit a bad shot, they know how to get it in the hole. And the process, golf is so difficult. You know, the wind, the water, the moisture, the humidity, the grass, the turf, the lie. You know, you might have a sore toe. And so you're trying to walk all that way and your foot's hurting. I mean, there's just so many nothing's constant. It's ever changing. That's why so few people have actually mastered the game.
Okay.
And so you got to be mentally tough because golf will humble you.
Yeah.
You know,
it will.
It will humble you. And so, you know, to me, that's the difference between being good and having big show game.
Yeah.
You know, we both that.
All right. So I got rapid fire questions, right? So I call it like a little fun segment that I always do.
Okay.
With, with people, right?
Yep.
Favorite golf course?
Pine Valley in New Jersey. Pebble Beach. Firestone. Man, I've been so fortunate, man. Through my time at Titleist, man, I played the best of the best. You know?
Talking about that now. Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite golfer of all time?
Calvin Pete.
Yeah. If you
Calvin won more golf tournaments in the 80s than anybody.
Yeah.
And he was my friend.
Wow.
Yep.
So if you could create a starting five, your dream starting five.
Oh, Jesus.
Any 4 people, living or not, give me your starting five right now. Living or not.
What race they are or just in general?
In general. Don't matter.
Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a great question. I'm going to go with a modern day Rory.
Mm-hmm.
Rory McIlroy. I'm going to throw in one of our elders, Jim Dent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to throw another man in, James Black. James Black, man, won so many golf tournaments way back when.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I had a chance to work with Gary Player. Okay. And not only was he a great golfer, but he was just an absolute gentleman. So he left a real big impression on me, you know? And one of the things, I played golf with Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. And Bill Clinton was more interested to hear about what I was doing to help kids in golf than anything that I could have asked him.
Yeah.
So that would be I know I'm overlooking somebody, but I'm trying to mix a little bit of us and a little bit of them in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, biggest lesson that golf teaches us about life?
You get out of it what you put into it.
Like that.
Yep.
Like that. Another rapid question.
Yes.
One word that would describe you, Mr. Craig.
Wow.
One word.
Resilient. Resilient. Okay. God's given me a couple chances to be a better human being. Mm-hmm. And so I would say resilient would probably be the best way to describe it.
Listen, I gotta say, let's talk about this real fast because, Eastern Golf Boys, they didn't put it on a page where your young lady from Del State.
Oh, Grace Agbo, Okundu.
Yes. Let's talk about her a little bit because, you called her over there to our section, right, to our bay, and you described us to us.
Yeah.
And I got it on film.
Okay.
And the way she was hitting them balls, all I'm going to say is, man, you got a winner.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Grace Agbo, she's so shy. She's so humble. So Grace came to me. I got a guy who's a Delaware State alum, and he's like, man, I got this girl. She just graduated high school. She's got no money. She's got nowhere to go. She loves the game. He sent me videos. She won every amateur tournament in Nigeria. And I said, you know what, G-Day, based on her alone, I'm going to give her a full scholarship. Okay? Right? Grace got off the plane. She had the travel cover that I sent for her, golf clubs, and 2 suitcases. Okay? She didn't have no garbage cans, no shower shoes, no towels, no nothing. Okay? And she had called a little golf set, a little Charlie Brown set of golf clubs. And her story was so touching to me. Grace made straight A's this semester, by the way. Okay? And so Grace got here, and man, the weather was cold. It was cold when she got here. She got here in December. And Grace was calling me every day, Coach, I want to go practice. I'm like, Grace, it's 35 degrees outside. We're not practicing today. Well, I just want to go hit balls, right? She's a humble human being, first of all. I probably violated some NCAA rules with how I took care of Grace. New clubs, everything. Okay. And probably my most humbling success story is who this young lady is. And she is going to be so god doggone good. And real quick, I spoke to the Delaware legislature. Okay. And I talked about the difference between resources and non-resources. And I said to them, I'm a paraphrase, but I told them, I said, you know, I got this young lady from Africa that I can change her life. First member of the family to go to college. I said, but I'm having a hard time getting her visa because Barron couldn't get into Harvard. Here's you all's chance to be on the right side of right and help me get this little girl into the States. And it worked. Okay. And I say that because Grace, you know, I had a little health challenge. Grace called me every morning, every night. Coach, how you feeling today? I miss you. You know? And it's just beyond any player that I've coached. And she's just a joy to be around, man. She works hard. She just, you know, humble, man. Just humble. And that's the lesson that our girls here in the States, they need to take some notes, you know, because Grace is the model citizen for me. That's as good as it gets, you know?
Let's talk about your team. Let's talk about this team now. Now, y'all going to be going around in tournaments, and y'all going to be doing tournaments, you know.
We've got a really good schedule coming up. We start at Rehoboth Beach. You know, we play in an assortment of HBCU tournaments and mainstream tournaments. We go to Homewood Beach, really good tournament, Battle at the Beach. Then we go to Atlanta for the Hall of Fame, which is a tournament that I actually played in when I was in college in Atlanta. And then we come back, we play in Navy's tournament. We play in the SAS, which we get a chance to play alongside the senior tour players. And it's just amazing, all the players that I grew up, you know, knowing and all that kind of stuff. That's a really, really, really great event. And then I'm missing one. But anyway, and then we go to Florida a couple times. We play in Women in Golf, which is a tournament put on by Legene Gould, I was Legene's first sponsor going back 35 years ago.
Wow.
And a women's empowering tournament. And they just do so much for the girls, you know what I'm saying? And so we do that. And then, you know, of course, the NEC tournament. And, you know, we play another tournament, the Arcus, which is at Western Hills down in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And so we play a pretty competitive schedule. Like I said, it's a mix between HBCUs and mainstream schools. Most of our mainstream schools and tournaments are up here on the East Coast, you know? And so, you know, like I said, man, we try to do more with less.
Yeah. So are y'all looking for more sponsors and stuff like that?
And we always looking for sponsors.
All right, now let's put it out there now.
Women's Golf Foundation.
All right.
Okay. The Delaware State Women's Golf Foundation. You can find me. You can find me on the website. And I've got some beautiful young ladies coming here. When I say beautiful, beautiful human beings that can flat out play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this is my third year. The cycle is usually 3 years before you get your team. Okay. And so I finally have my team.
Okay.
You know, I've had the girls go into the transfer portal. Has been the death of college golf. You know, these girls, you look at them, you say something to them, I'm going in the transfer portal. You know, so all that. But I got some girls that understand the game, that come from good families, that are respectful. And so I'm really looking forward to coaching these girls.
Hey, listen, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward for everything that you're going to be doing, man, because I have to say that, you know, is once again, this was definitely an honor for me.
Oh, man, thank you so much, man.
It was an honor for me. And a lot of people don't understand. Like when I say, I got you, I got you. You know what I mean?
Hey, man. And that's a loaded statement too, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever I can do to help your cause, you know, might even have you come out and spend a little time with us at practice and that kind of thing, so you can really see what it entails. I'd love to show you our facilities. I created an indoor golf space that, you know, it's not University of Tennessee, but we get done what we need to get done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know how the winter was this winter, man. That winter kicked our butt this year.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Behind. So now we can fully utilize what we built and what we've created. So, you know.
Well, listen.
Thank you, man.
Man, Mr. Craig, thank you. Thank you
stuck
so
with me
much.
Now, you know that, right?
Oh yeah. Listen, man, you got the number. We be talking. You know what I mean? So listen, but I thank you for joining us, man, tonight.
Oh, man, thank you. Humble for you having me. Thank you so much.
I'm so blessed to talk to you. I'm blessed to hear your stories. I'm blessed for you to give us documentary for we can hear the stories. And if it wasn't for people like you doing these things, it won't be nobody like me sitting here. So I'm telling you, Mr. Craig, from the bottom of my heart, I'm stuck with you, like you're stuck with me. You know what I mean? And you're gonna be seeing me a lot anyway because we're not too far. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. And we're not too far. Well, listen.
Thank you so much, man.
Before you go,
before
you go, Mr. Craig, you go, I need for you to tell everybody where they can find you on Facebook. I need for you to tell everybody where to donate at. I need for you to tell everybody everything. So before you even hit out of here,
let it go.
The floor is yours. Let it go.
Thank you so much. Craig Bowen, Delaware State University. I don't do Instagram and all that stuff. You can find me on Facebook, or you can Google Craig Bowen Golf, and everything pops up. Okay. I try to take as many calls as I can. If you know anybody that wants to donate to a worthwhile cause, I think we're doing some really, really good things for young men and women that have passion for the game. But aside from that, we have to create venues and things that pique our kids' interest. And so I do a lot of conversation about passion and careers. And so, you know, if you got any ideas or internships or anything like that, just dial me up. I take any call that comes in. Peace and love to all of you. And I'm humbled and I'm full of joy. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, listen, thank you. But before I go, like I always tell somebody, someone asks you how you doing, you always tell them you're doing better than yesterday. And
that's
remember,
right.
Your voice, your purpose, and your mission matters. So, hey, I appreciate you once again. Thank you so much. We'll be calling you. I'll be calling you because you know, like we've been talking, and I'll be calling you, man. And I appreciate everything that you have done. Period in the game of golf, man. And yes, keep on doing it. Keep on doing it.
So much, man.
All right, man. Hey, y'all.
That's the best. Yes. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, listen, OT loves y'all. Make sure y'all had yourself a great day. And I'll be seeing y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place here on the OT Radio Show. Peace.